Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, here we go. It's the day after. It should be a national holiday. We should all be able to call in at one point or the other after the big game. But here we are. Why? We've got college basketball to talk about. Welcome into the College Basketball Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com. Light card here today, but a very interesting card. Some really great matchups. We're going to talk about 4 of them, in fact. We're going to start in the Big Ten. We're going to go Ohio State, Maryland. We're going to go to my alma mater, Ohio State, taking on Kansas. We've got also Gonzaga taking on BYU, and the Beavers taking on the Buffaloes. Yes, we'll just leave it at that. Let's welcome in the fellas here, the panel that is going to help you make it a very profitable Monday here in college basketball. Welcome back, Bryan Leonard, to the house. Of course, Dave COKIN, and my neighbor to the bottom of me there, Mr. Ralph Michaels. Make sure you note the Twitter handles on all of these gentlemen here. Always a great follow. Make sure you're checking it out at B Leonard Sports, at CalSportsLV, and of course at Dave COKIN. Bryan, how was your weekend, my man? It's been a little while since we last spoke, about a week. But how was your weekend? And $9 Monday here at Wager Talk. So what do you got going on up?
Yeah, right now I've got 2 college basketball plays up for you today right now. Weekend was touch and go, a little bit of everything. 3-1 on my props for the Super Bowl, but I had the over. But I do want to point out that if you were live betting, that was a live betting chance right there in the Super Bowl to make a lot of money. Once it got to the point where you knew Kansas City wasn't going to be able to protect Mahomes with the 4-man rush, they weren't going to have success, and they didn't. And that was pretty early in the game. So if you were betting Tampa Bay as the game went along, you felt pretty confident. And we don't do a lot of talking about live betting here, but I know we all do it. It's something that we can't sell to our clients. We can't really tweet it out because the lines aren't there all the time. But a lot of guys I know are making a living betting live bets.
Yeah, no, plenty of opportunities there, and there's going to be plenty of more opportunities as well, certainly here in the college basketball season, if you play your cards right, guys. Dave, weekend, Super Bowl, how was it? How did you do? And what do you got, I believe, NHL for you tonight here for $9 at WagerTalk.com?
That's the only play I've got up tonight, is an NHL play. I did not find anything worthy of actually betting on in college basketball. I got some opinions, though. I'll share those. Super Bowl went very well for me. I was delighted with the result. And that was the only thing I was delighted with this weekend. Other than that, it was not a good weekend. Didn't get killed, but certainly didn't make anything. So we'll try and get that rectified starting today.
Monday's a new day, starts the week for us. Ralph Michaels, welcome in, my man. How was your weekend? And for $9 Monday, what do you got going on at Wager Talk?
Good. 2 bits of information, Joe. Let's start off this week with, yes, it's $9 Monday, but folks, it's Wager Talk Customer Appreciation Week. Packages for the entire week will be $9, be it even 5% $40 plays normally. Customer Appreciation Week. We thank you very much for tuning in. We thank you for being customers of Wager Talk, $9. And also for those that are fans of the College Basketball Stat Report, there is a new, fresh version today. All numbers updated through last night. It's a free download, WagerTalk.com. Go to the Ralph Michaels page, and you'll see the College Basketball Stat Report.
All right, great stuff here. Let's start the week off with a bang here, guys. Let's take a look at this first game up. Ohio State taking on Maryland, clash here of a couple of Big Ten teams. It didn't start off great for the Buckeyes, 2-3. In the conference, but boy, they have turned it around here. A very interesting game here tonight. 3.5 is what the line opened up. Total at 138.5 as an opening. Maryland, the epitome of inconsistent. Which team are you going to get here, Dave, tonight? Which one do you like here in this matchup?
Well, I don't think they're inconsistent. I would disagree with that. I think they've become consistent, and that would be from the standpoint of they just don't have an offense. They're at the bottom or near the bottom of the Big Ten in basically all the offensive categories. And, you got to put the ball in the basket. I think the defense is okay, but it's not an overall, let's just say it wasn't an overall strength to begin with for this Maryland team. They were supposed to be a team that might be able to go in and outscore you. And that just is not happening. And they're facing a team that is absolutely on fire right now in Ohio State. I mean, the Buckeyes are playing great basketball since the loss to Minnesota. They've gone 7-1. The only miss was a 2-point loss to Purdue. They were a little bit off in that game. Terrific win at Iowa. I guess you could say, well, it's not the greatest spot in the world for Ohio State having to play a second straight road game at Maryland off the win at Iowa. But the current form here, to me, is all Buckeyes. And it's not going to make my card. Nothing made my card today, but I'm not going with – I don't want Maryland here. If they get it done, congratulations to them, but there's nothing in their current form to me that indicates they're likely to win this game.
Yeah, it was a tough. I mean, listen, like Dave said there, Brian, when it comes to current form here, we watched Ohio State take down Iowa. We watched, unfortunately, Maryland come up short on the road against Penn State here. So they're back home. Time is running out for them if it's not already expired. So how do you approach this game?
Yeah, it's interesting. Ohio State, as you mentioned, gotten off to a slow start. Now, all of a sudden, there's talk about them being a number 1 seed. This is a team that's come out of nowhere, and Ohio State really surprised me. Their largest loss on the season has only been by 7 points. They've been in every game. But they are coming off their second worst defensive points per possession of the season. They allowed 1.21 points per possession to Iowa in the last time out. Iowa, obviously, a great scoring team when the coach lets their best players play. You can't get in foul trouble on that team or you're screwed. And that's what screwed us yesterday. I had Iowa in that game, and it should have never lost it, in my opinion. But State ranks 326th in the country in forcing turnovers. That may be a concern once the tournament comes around. Maryland's only 4-9 on the season versus top 100 opposition, coming off its worst offensive points per possession game against Penn State. That was an ugly game right there. But for Maryland's credit, the defense is playing very well. Last 4 games, they've held every opponent to less than 1 point per possession defensively. I think this is going to be a slugfest between the two. I like the under in this game.
The under in this game. Okay. And Ralph, when you look at this, I mean, they were terrible shooting the ball, certainly from 3-point range. They're not exactly a great 3-point defensive team either. So when you look at this game, how do you approach it tonight?
Well, Brian mentioned some good defensive numbers for Maryland. I think those numbers are so very fake. They were against Penn State, Purdue, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. We're talking 4 of the bottom 7 offenses in the league. So when you're looking at the Big Ten from top to bottom, there's such a big difference. Ohio State, 4 straight wins on the road against AP top 15 teams. Just amazing what Chris Holtman has put together on this team. There's so much ball. It just makes them a dynamic unit. I'm with Dave in this one. I keep expecting Ohio State to fall back a little bit, but they don't. They've shot over 50% in 4 of their last 6 games. They've held each of their last 4 opponents to 44% under. And when Brian's talking about you're off your worst game and it's 44.1%, you held the best offense in college basketball to 44.1%. To me, that's actually a positive, not a negative.
All right, there you go. Big Ten action in play, guys. Ohio State and Maryland. Let's switch over to Big 12. Interesting spot here, a very favorable spot for the Kansas Jayhawks, taking on Oklahoma State, coming off a crazy double overtime win against Texas. And there's a little revenge on the mind here for the Jayhawks, who did not win this game first time around against OSU. But they find themselves here as a small favorite, -4 at home, 140.5, Ralph, is what it opens up at. It's a good spot for Kansas, certainly from a scheduling standpoint. How do you see it?
Well, I mean, I just can't back Kansas. They're not the same team. And we've seen some blue bloods drop down, and they're finally out of the top 25 in I don't know how many consecutive weeks. But I will say this, you talk about revenge. Bill Self has been the coach here since 2004. Only one other time in that range of seasons has Kansas got swept by a Big 12 opponent. And that was your Oklahoma State Cowboys, Joe, in 2017, 2018 season. I'm gonna look at the under here. There's not many times Oklahoma State or any team in the country can say we shot 35.3% and we won by 8 points. But that's exactly what happened is they held Texas to 25.3% shooting. And I think 0 for 11 in overtime or some crazy number. We know what Kansas is getting. We know that starters all scored in double figures against West Virginia, but it was an up and down pace game that, they had a total of 170 points scored. Oklahoma State's defense continues to impress me. I'm going to look at the under in this game tonight.
Wow, look in the under. All right, Dave, how do you see Kansas? It's tough to back Kansas. I mean, Ralph's right there, but how are you going to approach this game here tonight?
Well, yeah, I mean, Kansas is obviously not playing good basketball. They've lost 5 of their last 7, and the wins were against TCU and Kansas State, and the TCU win was not good. So they're not playing good basketball at all. But maybe this is a good spot for them. They still aren't losing at home. They've only lost 1 home game all year. They got clobbered in that game by Texas, which was the first inclination that this team might not be that good. Nevertheless, they've managed to win the other home games. In Oklahoma State, going on the road off a crazy win. And on the road, maybe not as trustworthy. Lost to TCU. It's a team you would think they should have handled. They lost to Texas on the road. Very respectable loss. Certainly, they do have a win over Texas Tech. Nevertheless, I think this is one of those put up or shut up spots for Kansas. It's a game they really need. Not from a standpoint of making the NCAA tournament. They're not going to get a high seed regardless as far as that goes. But for their own mental well-being, I think this is one that Kansas really needs. I think it's going to be close to the number, but I am going to side with the Jayhawks in this one.
Brian, looks like a lot of the money coming rolling in here, pushing this number up. I'm seeing 5.5 across the board here, but are you more inclined to look at a side or a total in this one?
Yeah, there's been money on Kansas all day. I believe it opened at 4, maybe 4.5. Now I'm seeing 5.5, 6, up to 6.5. A lot of people looking to buy on this Kansas team based on reputation and spot, but I'm kind of in agreement with Rolf here. Oklahoma State, that game at Texas, by far their worst offensive points per play offensively is 0.83. They made only 19 of 55 2-pointers in that game. And keep in mind, this is a top 100 team in that shooting range on the season. Dave mentioned the way Kansas has played as of late. Go back and look at the Jayhawks this year. They're 4-7 versus top 50 opposition. 3 of those wins were by 4 points or less. So they've only beaten one top 50 team all season long by more than today's margin. I can't trust the Jayhawks here. Oklahoma State, to me, or an even team with Kansas, and you're getting that many points. I'll take the underdog here.
All right, going with the underdog, OSU. It's going to be a big thank you very much for your support all throughout the football season. And now that football is over, what better way to say thanks than offering you guys $9 packages all week long? Make sure you're visiting Dave, Brian, and Ralph at WagerTalk.com this week. All right, let's look here. Brian, I'm going to come back to you. The Zags BYU. This is pretty much the toughest test remaining for the Zags, many will say. Opens up at 12. They've won all 18 of their games so far this year. In fact, BYU has won 6 of its last 7 since the Zags beat them by 17 in early January. So what gives here? You think BYU can pull the upset off here tonight?
Yeah, you always look at games and you think where the underdog may have circled a game. I think this is a game when the favorite has circled the game because BYU is the only main competition the rest of the season. And if you've been watching these Gonzaga games, they've been playing lackadaisical, falling behind early and pouring it on in the second half. And I think Gonzaga comes out to play here against top 100 opposition on the season. Gonzaga has won by margins of 12, 23, 5, I believe that was West Virginia, 11, 23, 23, 17, and 14. As I mentioned, they've been going through the motions as of late. The last 6 times they've gone out on the court, they've held the opposition to 0.95 or less points per possession. They're playing very good defense right now. And BYU has just posted a season high 1.58 points per possession against Portland, scoring 105 points. Different game for BYU here. I like the favorite. I think Gonzaga kicks some butt in this one, and the line's a little bit cheap.
Ralph, what do you say? I mean, can they keep it within single digits here, BYU, tonight, in your opinion?
No. Let's also remember the Zags' last loss was when they came to BYU here last year. And, BYU was a much better team back then, and Gonzaga probably wasn't as good. That was back on February 22nd. They lost 91-78. I'm gonna say simply this: the Zags are the second best team that I have power rated behind Baylor. They may be the best team. They've been playing around with lower caliber people. They're going to be focused for this game. There's only one way I would bet it, the Zags. I'm going to suggest betting the first half. Mark Few said after the Pacific game, we were down at halftime. You guys think it's just as easy of me rolling the ball out and these guys winning by 20 or 30 points. Well, it is when they're motivated. They weren't motivated at Pacific. Then they blow them out the second half. I think they come out completely focused here in the first half. I am very happy to lay the 6 points in this mismatch because they do have Santa Clara on deck. This is their 4th straight road game. They are playing 7 straight road games in the stretch. So you are wanting to save something for Santa Clara in 3 days. I'll gladly take them as the much better team at home in the first half. If they have a 17 or 18-point lead and BYU hits a couple threes, you might get that backdoor cover. But I think the Zags come out fired up early and punch them in the mouth.
Couple of games canceled last week for BYU, Dave. So it's been a little while since they've been on the court. But in your opinion, is this going to be all one-sided?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think the number having gone down to 10.5 makes Gonzaga a little bit playable. Go back to the first game, final score 86-69, and you can look at that and say, well, BYU's losing by 17 at Gonzaga is not the worst loss of all time. But that was a completely phony score, because Gonzaga was up 32 midway in the second half and then decided to just coast home with backups playing the final roughly 8 minutes of the game. They absolutely slaughtered BYU in that game. To me, if you're going to take your shots against Gonzaga, you better find a game where they might figure to be in coast mode from the start, like the game against Pacific, where they actually trailed at the half, and they took care of business in the second half, but only by their standards won the game by about 18. I think Gonzaga is ready to play tonight, and the only side I could play would be the Zags.
Zags it is. Zags are broke here tonight in that game against BYU. One more game on the board, guys. We'll review. Then, of course, we will get to our best bets, plus our friends at the Gold Sheet, see what they're looking at tonight. We're going to take a look at the Beavers taking on the Buffaloes. Oregon State taking on Colorado. Colorado opens up as a 12-point favorite. Total 137.5 in this one as an open, and I'm seeing right around that, too. It hasn't had a whole heck of a lot of movement, but Oregon State coming off of a home win against Washington State over the weekend, 68-66. Colorado in a up-and-down game thought they were going to blow out Arizona. At least that's what it looked like. Then Arizona came back. They did win eventually, 82-79. Colorado at home in this one, Dave, but do you trust them by double digits in this matchup?
Well, got to mention Colorado was a 5% play for me on Saturday and finally lost one. They got out to a 17-2 lead, eventually extended it past that, and then just stopped playing defense. They played no defense in the second half. Actually fell behind by about, might have been down by as many as 5, I think, at one time. 4, actually, it was with about 3 minutes to go in the game. They did come out and win the game by 3, which means they covered the opening number, but that's not a win for me. That's not a widely available number. The widely available number was 5, 5.5, even 6. So that goes as a loss. The only thing I can say is can't win them all on the 5 stars because I've basically won them all for the last year and change. This one missed, but I'm satisfied I had the right side in terms of the way they approached the game and played for most of the game. I mean, they did completely dominate Arizona early and maybe got ahead by too much and went into coast mode defensively, and it hurt them. I think they could have trouble covering this number tonight. Oregon State is improving right now. The Beavers have won their last two, had a very respectable loss to UCLA before that, made a little bit of a lineup change, and Wayne Tinkle's getting some production out of his team right now. Those are good wins that are coming off. I mean, beating Washington is no big deal, but they absolutely clobbered the Huskies in that game. It was never a contest. And getting a 2-point win over a decent Washington State team at home was impressive. I think they've got a chance to go in and compete in this game. I don't think they're going to win, but it's not a bad spot for them with Colorado coming off the Arizona game and with Stanford up next. This is a bit of a sandwich. Oregon State plus the points would be the way I'd play this one.
Colorado's been really good, Ralph, at home, 7-1 on the year. They haven't been great of Oregon State on the road, just 1-3 so far. How do you see this game going down tonight?
Well, Oregon State is now 6-0-1 ATS their last 7 games, and that coincides with what Dave said. After the Arizona game, he moved Jared Lucas into the shooting guard spot, and he sat some guys down, brought them off the bench, and it's worked. I'm grabbing the points here. There's no question. I'm getting 12.5 points for a team that's number 345 in tempo. Colorado also very slow tempo. Colorado had that big lead, then had to fight back in that game. I think Oregon State covers this in a game where, the winner may be at 60, and I'm getting 12 points for a team that's on a roll like Oregon State is all day long.
Yeah, you look at the tempo numbers here. My goodness, like watching paint dry here tonight, Brian. Are you going to approach it from a side standpoint or from a total standpoint?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to approach it at all because I think the line's right here. The Beavers are 1-3 on the road this season. They've only played 4 road games on the year. The only win coming in Oregon. Go back, Dave mentioned that last game against Washington State. Interesting stats coming out of that. If you take a look at free throw rate, which means how many times the teams go to the foul line, Oregon State had their best game of the season by far, 72.1 free throw rate. On the other side, they only allowed 18.0% free throw rate. So they dominated that game, getting to the line, yet at home, they only won that game by 2. Somewhat concerned in that regard. But Colorado has been tremendous at home. Unfortunately, I didn't get there for Dave last time out. But, the last 3 games at home, they produced a combined 34-65 shooting from downtown. They've been on fire at home as of late. Problem is, we know that doesn't continue here. So Colorado's been having some really good shooting games, and I don't know if it continues here. A low-scoring game, I would agree in that regard. But the line's really about where I thought it should be, so I'll be sitting this one out.
All right, guys, we got some best bets coming up here, but now's a good time to remind you that it is $9 Monday, plus it is Customer Appreciation Week at Wager Talk. You head over there right now. Go to Ralph's page. Go to Dave Kokin's page. Go to Brian Leonard's page. $9 packages all week long, a way of saying thank you very much for all the support throughout the football season, and we look forward to continuing to make it a very profitable NBA, college hoops, NHL, you name it. Plenty of sports still on tap and much more yet to come, including MLB here in just about 30 days. In the meantime, though, of course, we got our friends from the Gold Sheet. We'd like to take a look and see what they've got on the board as a game that they are circling here tonight. And look at that, Ralph. What a shock. The Zags taking down BYU. The market seems to like BYU, but not so much for our friends at the Gold Sheet right now.
Well, I agree with them. And as you guys know, I will post the entire write-up on my Twitter at CalSportsLV so you can read and see exactly why the Gold Sheet likes the Zags tonight.
All right. Well, let's get to some best bets. Brian, I'm going to start with you, my friend. What game did you circle on the card for us here tonight?
Well, last time I was on, last Monday, Ralph and I both took 2 of the ugliest teams in college basketball. He took actually the most ugly team in Mississippi Valley State, and I had that game too. But since Ralph already chose it, I had to choose another ugly dog. But I'm on Mississippi Valley State here. This is a team, as the season goes on, everybody knows who are the best teams in the league, who knows who are the worst teams, and nobody wants any part of the Delta Devils here. And I think this is a team that's improving a little bit. The line keeps getting higher and higher. on these games. Last time they played Alabama State, they lost by 13 at home. That actually was their best game of the season. They matched up really well when you take a look at the advanced statistics in that game. So they matched up really well. Now they're catching, 18 and a half, 19 in that regard on the road. And you're catching an Alabama State team who just beat Arkansas Pine Bluff in their best performance of the season when you're looking at the advanced stats. So they're coming in fat and happy here, playing a team they've already beaten. I'll take the big number here with the dog here. There's no way a team that's I think 340th in the country should be laying this type of number to anybody. Give me the ugliest dog on the board, and that'll be my play today.
All right, look at that. Serving up a glass of that Ralph Michaels Kool-Aid. Love it. All right, very good. Mississippi Valley State is where he's looking at. Dave, what game did you circle for us here tonight?
Well, it's not really a circle. I put it in parentheses because I don't have any plays tonight. But among the games we talked about on the show, a reluctant vote for Kansas. It is a very good scheduling spot for them, in my opinion. And I'll see if they can get home by a little more than the number. I think that's a competitive game, but I do like Kansas to win, so I'll take my chances laying the points in the game. It has gone up, so there's not really a lot of value in it. And if it sounds like I'm trying to sell you off the game, I'm not really, because I do think Kansas is the right side, but proceed with caution.
All right, good stuff. And Ralph, all right, my friend, you're gonna one up here. Brian, talk to us. Where are you going here tonight?
Well, I just want to remind people, again, I took customer appreciation to a new level. I actually have 4 plays today, and I packaged all 4 college basketball plays. Yes, we said it's a weak card, and when you're handicapping college basketball, it could be funny. You could find 1 or 2 plays on a deep card and then find 4 games on a weak card. I have 4 plays today, including 2 4%. All 4 plays are just $9 total at Wager Talk for today on Monday. I do have a game that tips at 5 p.m. Eastern, and my best bet today also tips at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's Gardner Webb. They're laying 4.5 on the road. This is just a spot that my current form numbers in the Big South just have them such a better team than USC Upstate. Upstate's off 4 straight losses and back home. Gardner Webb in great current form, having gone 5-2 their last 7 games. Give me the running Bulldogs today. That is a 5 p.m. Eastern tip-off.
All right, 5 p.m., guys. Take a look. I'm looking at the University of Miami to give up a lot of points here tonight against North Carolina. They're on the road. They're heading to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Miami. 2 teams that are much better off than they were earlier this year. The team total for North Carolina was 75.5 to open. I think there's some value on the over, especially given the fact they just dropped 41 in the first half against Duke on the road. So I'm going to go over. I expect them to be in the 80s when it's all said and done tonight against one of the worst defensive teams in Division I, certainly in the ACC. So take a look at these best bets here, guys. Gardner Webb there at the top there for Ralph Michaels, laying the 4. COKIN says, give me some Kansas. That number keeps going up. He put it in parentheses. He didn't circle it. Keep that in mind. We got Brian Leonard, bless him, Mississippi Valley State plus 19. Very good. I'm going to go with North Carolina's team total over 75.5. And our friends at the Gold Sheet, they're taking the Zags tonight to get down on BYU, lay the 10.5. And again, like Ralph mentioned, Customer Appreciation Week, $9 Monday, $9 all week customer appreciation at WagerTalk.com. Make sure you visit Brian. Make sure you visit Dave. And, of course, make sure you visit Ralph today. Grab the best bets. They are up. They are ready to go. And grab yourself a package this week. Our way of saying thank you very much for the support. Hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Hit subscribe. Come back and join us tomorrow as we break down another card in college hoops. On behalf of Brian Leonard, Dave COKIN, and Ralph Michaels, I'm Joe Raineri. Guys, best of luck with your plays. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.